He's so cute. I can't believe that they get fingernails born
with them.
Yeah,
Born
what
with
is
long,
that?
Sharp fingernails.
Ow.
Yes.
If there wasn't enough things to hurt you, God gave them nails. Why?
We don't need that.
Welcome to this random kitchen in my next guest temporary home this week. I am Brittany Bass, a full-time passenger seat princess and operations manager of Matt Becker Fishing. If you don't know me yet, I am also Matt Becker's girlfriend. He is a professional bass fisherman on the Bass Pro Tour with Major League Fishing, and we are in our full swing of our second season on this tour. So with this channel and podcast, I get to bring you guys some of the best wives, fiancés, even some moms and girlfriends to talk about their lives, their families, their superstitions, because we got them too, and all the behind-the-scenes goodness that goes into making a tournament season happen and successful. So this is episode 11 of Random Kitchens. Welcome back, everyone. Today I am very, very excited to introduce you to a brand new boy mom, traveling businesswoman, and professional Bass Pro Tour angler, Gerald Spohrer's wife. And everyone, this is Maggie Spohrer.
Hey.
So thank you for having me in your actual kitchen this week.
Sure.
So we are currently sitting in her kitchen because we are at Dale Hollow. So we're actually on the Kentucky side. Mm-hmm. So Dale Hollow split Tennessee and Kentucky. We are staying on the Tennessee side, and they're on the Kentucky side. But is Gerald ready for this? Is he excited?
I think so. This is probably the least he's ever put thought into a tournament with everything going on. And not even just the baby, but Red Crest and all. He focused so much on that he was like, okay, Dale Hollow. He was like, guys are pre-practicing. And I haven't even, started looking or thinking about it. But I think he's always likes new places that he's never been before, so I think he's excited about that.
And this one, I feel like it could be really good. It could be mediocre. It could be bad, but I think it'll be fun because we get to expose the smallmouth of this lake.
Yes, and just I think we'll get a lot of eyes on it because there aren't a lot of big tournaments here, so people are excited to see. And then when they do have tournaments, there's a slot limit or something, so it's a little different where we can weigh everything. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah,
it'll be good. So typically, Dale Hollow weights are coming only from largemouth, maybe a smallmouth or two, but the smallmouth you can't bring in unless it's over 22 inches or under 14 if you're doing a 5 fish. And because we're catch, weigh, release, we get to weigh everybody and over 2 pounds. We have a 2 pound minimum, so I'm super pumped about it. Matt loves Dale Hollow. He hasn't been here a ton, but Dale Hollow is a big part of why we live in Tennessee now.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So when we came down here 2 years ago for a Toyota series, he was like, we need to look around this area. I love this place so much. And it really is beautiful. So he's and actually, we found our house while we were at Dale Hollow. I was driving. We're 2 hours. So I was driving down there with a realtor to look at it.
We do that everywhere we go. We're pull up Zillow. What are houses around here? Oh, we like this place.
Are y'all looking to move?
No, we're building back home. But in the past, we've always just for fun.
Yeah, I know. I like seeing what their market values and stuff are too because... Yeah. You've probably seen this, an influx of people moving. This is random caveat. But, so, our area is priced, very crazy right now. So I'm what is everything around us doing?
Yeah.
But, okay, so we're going to start from the top. So for people who don't know you, who are you? Where are you from?
I'm Maggie Spohrer, Gerald Spohrer's wife. I'm originally from Crowley, Louisiana, South Louisiana. We live in the Baton Rouge area outside in the Gonzales suburbs right now. So.
Oh, is that where you're building too?
So we're building in St. Francisville. We just bought land north of Baton Rouge. It's a really cool small town, country, big open land. We just purchased the land a month ago. They're digging a pond right now while we're going there. We're going to have a 3-acre pond.
Very nice.
It's going to be great. So we're getting out of the craziness of Baton Rouge and the city, and even Gonzales where we are, it's outside of Baton Rouge, but it's crazy. So we're going back to the small town country.
I like it. That's what we did. And it's so nice, how hectic tournament weeks are, even though we are in small towns, it's so nice to go home to very peaceful areas.
Yes, absolutely.
So And that is not a question for you, but so how long have you guys been fishing professionally?
So this is Gerald's 9th year on a professional level and my 8th year with him.
Okay, and you've been traveling with him the whole time?
Yeah, so the first year we were together was his first year on the Elite Series, and I made it to like half of the tournaments. And then after that, I haven't missed since then.
Very nice.
Yep.
I love that. I love this life. So for this episode, we're going to do the life and love story first. We're going to take a little bit of a break and then dive into work and tournament life. But before we do, like last episode, we are going to insert a picture of her and Gerald in the family, so you guys have an idea of, what they look like together, but also Gerald, angler, the guy that you see on TV, and family man. So you kind of have the whole picture as we're talking through. So the picture will be right here. And we have a little Blaze on he's not on the floor. He's in his bouncy thing.
He's down there.
So if you hear any little noises,
he's down there.
His little cute self is right there. Okay, so let's hear it. How did you guys meet?
So we were an online Tinder.
Love it.
Yep, I know y'all were similar. One of those things that I was embarrassed to tell people for a while, and then it was like, hey, we made it.
Yes, heck yeah. I think it adds transparency so much that people forget.
Yeah. I was coming out of a long relationship, and he was working to qualify for fishing and working a ton. So, he was on it for those reasons. I was on it because I was like, what is this stuff? I haven't been looking for days in a long time. Yeah, what is this? Let me try it out. And we met there, and it was kind of like we met up right away. He was like, let's just go get dinner and see if we like each other before, dragging this out too long. Yeah. So we pretty much went on our first date, within 2 or 3 days of...
Did y'all text or anything first, or
for a couple of days.
Did you call?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if we ever
called.
Maybe.
I think that was my most surprising thing, and I think it's a fisherman thing, that they call.
Oh, absolutely.
They use the telephone, not texting.
Big time they do.
So I remember Matt called me after he got my number. I was like, what are you doing? Are you okay? What is this?
Yeah, I don't know if he called right before we met because we met so quickly after matching whatever, but he definitely after that, it was the same thing.
Isn't it surprising?
And still to this day, even with his friends and stuff, he just picks up the phone and calls them. Just
to ask a one question.
You have definitely texted that.
Yes, yeah, it is. I don't know if it's a culture thing or what, but it is actually pretty fabulous.
It is nice.
So is he big sappy guy? Romantic?
No.
Are you?
No. So he's romantic, but not verbally. He's not the mushy tell feelings kind of thing, which I like because that's too much for me. I'm that kind of gets to be too much, but he is romantic in the fact that he'll always hold my hand walking across the parking lot. He loves spending time just hanging out, the two of us, flowers, things like that. He's always very thoughtful, just not the verbal.
Yeah, a big book. Yeah. I don't know how I would take that, to be really honest.
Yeah, I don't know. It's always a little too much for me.
Yeah. Then what do you say? Thanks.
Yeah, and then it's okay. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel it's probably y'all's wedding was probably where he got it out, and then
Yep.
You said all you needed to.
Yep.
So you dated for how many years, and then have been married for how many years?
We dated for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we dated typical fisherman.
I know.
We dated for forever.
Was also a trend.
Very much a trend. Forever till finally put a little pressure on him, and
did you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't want to have to be that person, but at some point I was
what are we doing here?
Yeah. It was
which is also a trend. Let me tell you.
It was after we'd been together a long time. We'd been living together for 5 years. We were buying a house, a big house together, and it was just so, were we ever going to
what is
forward? And, it's just the fishermen. It's they want to make sure, what they're doing is unconventional. So, they want to make sure that they can provide and that it's stable. Yeah. We've had a lot of changes in the industry, too. So, that, I think, delayed things. We got to see where things go. I don't want to get into something and then, I'm,
Yeah.
Things get crazy. So, but we've been married now a year and a half. So
Very
it was
nice.
November of 22.
And I know the answer to this, but for you guys' sake, was it a big wedding or a little wedding?
It was the best wedding. It was the best wedding ever. It was little. We eloped, if you want to call it that. We went to Greece, to Santorini, just the two of us.
Planned elopement.
Planned elopement. We live streamed it back home so we could invite everybody. But it was just the two of us. But we did have like a wedding planner, photographer, videographer, all of that. So it felt like a real wedding, but just us, which was great.
I love it.
It was the best decision ever.
It's so beautiful. I feel like people forget that your wedding is between the two of you, and they plan for everyone else versus for each other, and you are like committing to each other. You're saying these vows like to each other under God, before Him, because that is like where marriage was created. So like 100%. I love that. I really, really love that.
I was all about that, like wanting to make sure it was us and not like doing things for other people what they wanted. And then it was also like we considered doing a small wedding at home, like 40 people in SWAT, our previous title company. The owner has a beautiful lodge plantation like in the backyard, with just a few people. And then when we started actually like making a list, Gerald could not narrow it down to that few people. So it was like, this is either going to turn big and into a big thing, or it's just going to be us. So we went just us.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's so intimate. And it was gorgeous. Like, gorgeous.
Tied in honeymoon, wedding all together. Spent a fraction of what it would have cost to do a wedding here, next to nothing. And it was just the best, beautiful
memories for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Love it. I can't believe it's been a year and a half, actually. That's pretty wild.
It was November of 22.
I was thinking, I also think it's like a fisherman thing to wait a little bit because the tournament cycle.
Yes.
Like you're so focused on tournament season that like another year passes.
It does without realizing it.
Yeah, and not that they don't plan, but like, I mean, Matt and I have talked about that before, like you get so focused and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's 2025 or oh my gosh,
It is, because it's like you only have a few months in the off season to do things like that. Like, so Gerald proposed in the summer, like end of June, July, and like we had been together for 6 years. So I was kind of, and I knew I didn't want a big wedding, so I was like, hey, let's do it this off season. Where in his mind he was like, that would be fast, next off season. It's not because during the season. So January through September is off the table. So then you're waiting like a year and a half. I was like, no.
No.
We're
making this happen, buddy. I like it. So what's the best part about loving a tournament angler?
I think being with somebody who is living their dream, achieving what they've had such a goal to do, and seeing them enjoy it, and the dedication, the passion. Just being able to have that respect for your partner and the pride in them, of seeing them accomplish that and work hard for it. That's another level of love that you have for somebody, to see them living that out, I think.
I love that. I know, like, when we say that, like, a lot of us have that as our favorite part, but it truly is, like, I think it's just, like, beautiful to watch. And I think it's, like, hard to find someone that dedicated. Yeah. And it's just so nice, especially, like, when it goes well and, like, that all of the preparation, like, met the success. Is just
the highs and the lows. Like, it's how often you get to just cheer for your partner, like, to go and do something, and then also have, then you have the downsides and having to, work through the not so good ones too. And it's just, it's a lot more life than just your regular, if you were just a 9-to-5 job all the time. Like, there's a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, so. And like full-on support of it. No, I love that. What would you say is the hardest part of loving a tournament angler?
Their complete dedication. I mean, we all know that. Yeah. It's amazing. I don't know if they're all like this, but Gerald is very, like, it's watching the wheels turn in his head and knowing that, like, he's not just sitting there not talking to you. Yes. He has so much going on in his mind. Yes. So, like, especially tournament weeks, yesterday was a long practice day, and I know, like, it didn't quite go how he thought it would, because it never does. No. So, like, coming home, and it's like, he's not just sitting there on his phone, like, looking on phone, like, he is coming up with a game plan, and he's thinking, he's like, downloading, like, it never stops. Even, like, if it's not tournament week, they're always analyzing something. They're always, the wheels are always turning. So it's like, I might ask him a question, and he might, like, not answer for 5 minutes. I'm like, he's ignoring me, or he didn't hear me. And then he'll answer, like, 10 minutes later. I'm like, okay, it's just, it's on the waiting list of getting up to the front of the line.
Which is... Yes, crazy and sometimes hard to swallow. Because you're like, okay, I haven't seen you all day.
I just have a couple of questions. Can you please tell me these things? And then go back to what you're doing. Yes.
A little focus. Just
so that's
a little
the hard part. Yeah, it's like realizing, okay, there's a lot going on in their head.
Yeah, I can see it. And like you said, yesterday was a long practice. Like, and me and Kristen were actually talking about this last night. Matt walked in. So I went and picked him up. And it's kind of like, it's like, you know, fluff conversation, not really talking all the way home. And then he comes in, he drops his stuff, like he'll get his boat, you know, completed, and he'll go straight for a shower. And it's like his download time. And then after the shower, he's like, what are we having for dinner? Like, oh, what you guys do today? Let me see your nails. You know, that kind of, but like he has to get like fully downloaded of all of that excess info.
Same.
And then we're like good to go.
Same. And like, that's why that time is important. Like, we could never be the kind of people that come home, shower, eat, and go to bed. Like, we need that. Red Crest is hard for that because the logistics are hard. So it's like we had to carve out that, like, okay, we still have to have the after everything downloads time.
Yes, and still talk. And actually, I think I was talking to Bella about that. Like, before you know it, like, the tournament week is done, and you, like, have it communicated on stuff unless you kind of, like, carve it out, which is actually why I like driving with him, like, to the launch or, you know, back from the thing. A lot of, like, you can kind of, you know, have a little bit of down and then, like, talk it out a little bit. So, what is your favorite thing or hobby to do together?
We have a lot of hobbies, a lot of things that we do together. That's one of the things, and that was on our first date, something Gerald said. He was like, I want to be with somebody who enjoys doing what I do so that I'm not running off to the camp with the guys and you're doing your own thing. Like, I want to do things together. And I was like, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I'm in.
Huge proponent.
Yes. Please.
I also would like to come with you.
I would love to be a part of this. Yes. So, I do a lot with him. We do a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing, traveling. We do, whether it's play golf, you know, whenever we have a little bit of time, which we don't normally, but just...
Y'all are foodies, too.
We are big time foodies. Yeah. Yeah, we love find a good restaurant, go find a good place to eat, going out for drinks and food and stuff like that. So, definitely that, the hunting, the fishing. Yeah.
So, what do you like to hunt for?
Turkey this time of year. He actually, you mentioned Bella, so he was talking to Nick Hatfield, her husband, I guess on Instagram or text this week, and they were like planning a turkey hunting trip for their off day. Oh. And I was like, Here? Because that's what we normally do. Like, we don't ever turkey hunt back home because it's during fishing season. Yeah. So, like, we've hunted in Tennessee before, in Texas, in Kansas.
That's fun. I saw one walking across the street.
Yeah, us too. Gerald saw a big gobbler, like, right down the road. So I was like, oh, you're going to go without me. I was like, yeah. I was like, come on, Blaze. You don't want to go turkey hunting? But turkey and deer.
You can bring him. Just get, like, some noise canceling camo.
Baby carrier.
Oh my God, black him out. Oh, he would be so cute.
So yeah, turkey, deer, duck hunting every once in a while, but that's just kind of a once every once in a while thing. But mostly turkey and deer.
And y'all do offshore fishing yourself too, right?
Yep.
What's your favorite thing you've ever caught?
Well, that's a lot. So I caught a sailfish in Costa Rica. That was really cool.
That is awesome.
That was very, very fun. That was different.
They like fly when they jump out the water, right?
Yes. Yeah. So billfish in general. So there's swordfish, sailfish, and marlin. We catch a lot of swordfish at home, which is fun, but not my favorite because it's very slow.
Yeah. Like reeling in slow, you mean?
Or like catching? Watching for the bite. It's like one rod and like you're just staring at it for maybe 30 minutes because the bait's 1,500 feet down.
Yeah.
And you put it down there for forever, and then you just like watch for the tiniest little like half the time I don't even see it, and then you just hit the button and it comes up. Once the fish is up to the water, it's a lot more exciting, and we always have to like tell people that are with us, like, we promise it gets better. Yeah. And it does, but I usually just take a nap until that point of time. The marlin and the sailfish are exciting. They're jumping. I haven't personally caught a marlin yet. We actually just bought a new boat. It's just like the day before we left, we went and picked it up.
Oh,
so it's more. We're going to do more marlin fishing back home now. But marlin and sailfish, they jump and they're exciting, they're fun. But we do a ton of just like tuna fishing, which is probably one of my, even though they're usually so big that I can't reel them in all the way by myself, unfortunately, but I tend to get a lot of the bites, and the fishing part of it's a lot of fun. So
they're colored, right? They're like the yellow, green, and blue.
No, I think, is that the mahi?
Oh, that's mahi.
Yeah, like with the kind of flat kind of tuna. Face. Yeah. So those are fun too. But the tuna, you have a yellowfin or a blackfin. Bluefin we don't have as much around home, but the yellowfin is what we catch a lot, and they can get. I mean, they'll get to 200 plus pounds. So.
Yeah, no wonder you can't reel it in yourself. It's like triple your size. Oh my gosh. So obviously, you guys have tons of things where you make memories, but what is one of your most fun memories together? It can be fishing. Well, let's do fishing and non-fishing.
Okay.
Like tournament or not,
Okay. So I was kind of looking back through pictures earlier and remembered back in, 2018, we stayed between northern tournaments. We stayed up north for like 6 weeks. Oh. And we did we went to Niagara Falls, which was awesome. We hit a lot of good restaurants and found a lot of good foodie places.
The north is good for that.
It is. Like, it's not your Cajun food like back home, but you have like talented chefs that are like doing cool culinary things.
It's like good farm to tables.
Oh yeah, a lot of good fresh stuff. So just being in those small towns up in upstate New York, we love it up there. But we got to go fishing a lot for smallmouth up there. That was fun. Getting to just do some fun fishing. So that was kind of fishing in between tournaments. Fun memory. Our wedding, of course, was probably big time memory.
Yes.
Fish tournament wise. Favorite memory. I think there's not one in particular, but it's all of which the cut line drama is usually, gives us gray hair, but
really
it's
also gray hair.
It does. But I think I love the adrenaline rush of it. I'm a sucker for it anyway. So I can picture so many, whether it was Chickamauga, and I'm a big walker. So like I'll park the truck. I'll pacing. Yes, well, and walking in general. Like I just like to go on walks, and I'm a pacer too. So like I learned over time. I learned on Okeechobee, no, not Okeechobee, Harris Chain or Kissimmee Chain, one of the Florida tournaments. Gerald was way back in the bottom, and in the last 10 minutes just went on a tear and got all the way up into the top 10. And I was driving to the ramp, and like I missed the turn, and I'm just like, I should not be driving right now, watching live, this is not safe. But that was exciting, and from then on, I always try to get to the ramp like at least 30 minutes ahead of time because he is consistent he will catch a last minute fish. Like if he's below the cut, I'm always until the last second. I'm like, he might catch one. So like in 2021, we had a lot of those where Rayburn, he finished third, and it was just like being in the parking lot, just watching live, pacing, Okeechobee, pacing around people. And if there's other people in the ramp parking lot, they'll just see me sometimes just walking around the truck, because sometimes it's like an area we don't have good service.
Yeah, but you have it.
We have Wi-Fi in the truck, so I'll just like make sure
walk around the satellite. That's hilarious.
So I think all those moments are kind of my favorite.
Yeah, I love them. I think like I get just as hype like as he does, and I wish like, sometimes we had like walkie-talkies or something, so I could be like, go, because I'm like screaming at myself.
Yes.
Like I like want him to like, but so I emoji bomb like his phone, and I have my own ding, so he knows. It's like, oh my God, she's seen it. Like, let's go.
Yeah, Chickamauga was when I remember we were staying with a friend who lived on the lake, and like the ramp was in the neighborhood, so I was just walking up and down the neighborhood, and like it was one of those tournaments. He was on the cut line, they had the camera on him, and he hooks like a 5-pounder and loses it. And I just remember like being on the street like, those moments,
It's so crazy. I love them though. It really is. Cut line drama is the best. Oh, best and worst. Like it's
on the good
serious.
Yeah.
Oh,
but it's exciting.
But it totally is. So what do you guys do as like your date night? Like obviously traveling, quality time, especially if you travel with people, can be, questionable at best. But, like, what do you guys do as a date night activity?
Date night, we like to go out to eat. Yeah. That's a big one. Here, like, at home or on the road. So, this is our first year traveling alone. since we have Blaze, because we're not just alone now. But we traveled with a group up until now, so it was nice to still just one night a week during the tournament go and find our own place and go out to dinner, just the two of us, and do our own date night during the tournament. But at home too, like when he would leave, because like I always travel to tournaments with him, but he'll do a lot of other stuff, obviously, that I don't go to. So we always kind of make a point to go out to eat, have date night before he leaves for something like that. We like to go out for drinks after, casino sometimes, that kind of stuff. Casino. Yeah.
What's y'all's game?
Blackjack.
We like it too. I love blackjack. I think again, I say it's a fisherman thing, but I really think because like gambling is like kind of in there. I know. And the blackjack, like the odds are pretty similar. I feel like so. Matt, we always start on the blackjack and then we'll do like some roulette at the end.
Yeah. He'll sit at the blackjack table for forever. I'll like in and out and I'll go hit the slot machines.
Are you a slot machine?
Absolutely.
I cannot get them to love me. No slot machine loves me. They take all my money.
Well, I know. It's like there was always one that was so good. It was like the Willy Wonka or something. And then it was like it was always a good one. And of course they took him out of the casino. They're not there anymore, so
I forget. Matt and his friends used to like, there was this one, and I think it was like a Quick Trip or a Quick 4 or something like that. But it was this one machine, and they always like go to it. But I have not found one that loves me. And I also don't really know how they work. Like, I just understood the pushing of the situation.
Yeah, which is not good, because sometimes you like push the wrong button and you go all your money.
All your money,
I didn't want to bet all of it in one push.
I know. And then like Betty next to me is just like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, how are you winning all the time? So I think it's just a me thing.
I'm very much like my one little bit of money that I put in, and then I'm done.
Me too. I call it elephant money because I have this like basically an elephant piggy bank. So extra cash goes in there, and that's what comes to the casino.
Yes.
So let's talk about the little one down there. So she is the actual newest mom
for now. Until tomorrow.
Is that her date? Yeah. Oh my gosh. So right now, newest mom in the MLF fishing family and first time mom. So super, super excited. So who is this little man that made you a mom?
Blaze John.
Blaze John.
Pop up and say hey. He is our little boy. He is 2.5 weeks old. He was born on the
2.5 weeks. Yeah. It's already been 2 weeks.
It's been 2.5 weeks. Say hi.
Can you see?
He's just the biggest little chunk.
Oh, he is so. I cannot with those little feet.
Yep. So he's our tournament season little baby.
How did you guys decide on his name?
So that was a really hard thing for us to do. Well, his middle name was not hard. My dad is John. Was John. He passed 4 years ago. So that was an absolute given. He would have John in his name. And Gerald's dad is also John. Aww. And Gerald has 2 middle names, so one of them's John. So it's a big time family name.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So we knew John, and we just had to find a first name to go with it. So we just read all the lists and stuff, and we just made our own list for months. And we had narrowed it down to 3 before having him. We had Blaze, Davis, and Lucas. And Gerald had come up with Blaze. I think he had seen it on the list and liked it. And I really didn't like it at first. I was like, he was coming up with a lot of weird names.
Yeah,
he was coming up with
like different.
Noah and Abel and Nico.
Like biblical names. Nico.
No, weird, just off out of the blue names.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, I like Blaze the most out of all of these odd random names. I like it the most. It can stay on the list. And then I was completely shocked. Like, we started telling my family and just everybody we met, we would give them our options, and everybody was like, oh, I like Blaze. Oh, I like Blaze. And I'm like,
it is different, but it's cool.
Yeah, and I never disliked it. It was just like, okay. But we still didn't decide. We had narrowed it down to Blaze or Lucas before having him, and we said we wouldn't name him until we saw him.
Met him, yeah.
And because I have red hair, Gerald has very dark hair, and we had no idea what he would look like, but if he came out redhead, we didn't want to go Blaze, so I didn't want him picked on, like, I know the life of redhead. You don't need to add
You don't need to add fire.
Literally fire to the situation. So we waited, and he came out looking really dark, especially, like, really dark complected, ton of hair, thank goodness. We did not think he was gonna have hair. No, like, I had no heartburn, and the ultrasound at 36 weeks, I asked him, like, can you see hair? And they're like, little bit of fuzz. Came out with a ton of hair and kind of more of Gerald's coloring, and now it's kind of changing, and people keep saying they can see some red in it, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, but as a redhead myself and looking at my baby pictures, he looks nothing like my coloring. I think he has some of my features, but not my coloring. So he might turn out a redhead anyway after being named Blaze, but I don't think...
It could be fun.
It'd be fun.
I like it.
At that point, you
my sister went from, like, dark black hair to it all falling out, coming in red, all falling out, and coming in blonde.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, how? I mean, those are genes, right? They're like, what, phenotypes or whatever? Like, they are traits.
Like, have all of them.
How? I know. How do you do that?
Yeah, we had some family that same thing. They came out real dark and fell out, came back blonde. So I'm like, well, I guess who knows?
He's got options.
Yeah, we'll see. But he's already, turned into a Blaze, so it's obviously grown on us a ton. Yeah.
So what's your plan with him for traveling? Obviously, they're your
keep it on. When I found out we were pregnant and due in March, I was just like, oh God, this is worst case. Not worst case, but like worst timing we could have picked.
So like March is Red Crest month. Yes. So, and that's our championship, as you guys know. You guys followed it. And so they were due, like, 2 days after the tournament ended.
Yeah.
I mean, like, crazy.
So, so I found out I was pregnant during ICAST. I wasn't at ICAST. So, Gerald wasn't home. He was at ICAST. I was home. And I immediately did the calculation. And at that point in ICAST, so we didn't have our full schedule out, but we knew Red Crest dates. And my actual due date was March 27th. I went in a week early. So I was like, okay, well, it'll be after unless I go early, it'll be after Red Crest. That's good. And then it was just like this waiting for a month or two of what's the rest of the schedule, and are we going to have a tournament on top?
Right after that.
And so we roomed with Josh, and Josh is on like the schedule committee. So he like kind of been hearing like little bits and pieces of stuff. So I was like trying to get out of him like,
what are the dates?
What, anything else in March? And he didn't really know. He didn't really tell us much. But finally we got the rest of the schedule. And I'm like, okay, we're in between. We'll see how it goes. But it worked out.
It literally perfectly, because so Gerald fished all the way through Red Crest. So he was on championship day. They finished championship day, had like 2 off days, and then you had him?
Yeah.
Because it was Wednesday, right?
Yep. So we fished on Sunday, drove home Monday. So we had like Monday evening and all day Tuesday, and had him on Wednesday.
And by the way, she was at Red Crest. Every launch, every win, every expo, she was there.
I didn't make practice, but
the ball, she wore a beautiful she was fully there. So, commitment level 1,000,000.
We give credit to my mom for that for sure. So, I skipped practice because at that point you're having weekly appointments. And Gerald just couldn't wrap his head around that. He was just like, why can't you come with me? And I was like, he's like, you're good. I have an appointment I have to go to. So, we waited till after that, which was on a Wednesday. Tournament starts on Thursday. So, my mom came with me to the appointment and made sure I had the all clear from my doctor. And she was like, yeah, no, you're good, go. So my mom drove with me up there so that if I did go into labor or something, she would be there. Yeah. She could drive, help, things like that. Do whatever would have to be done at that point. But yeah, we made it. I don't know if you want to, but getting into
you can get into anything you want.
Okay. Advice, I guess, for people in the same situation. Well, we, thinking about having kids, kind of like you said, you have an off season for that. So for us, it was or in my mind at least, clock's ticking. We're getting older, and it's how many off, do you wait for the off seasons? Yeah. Yeah. So I remember 2 other anglers. So Kara, of course, Adrian Avina, her first one, Charlotte, her birthday just passed. She was born in April, and I remember when she had Charlotte, thinking, oh my gosh, heavy hitters was that week. What is she gonna do? Because worst nightmare is you having the baby while they're not home. They miss it.
Yeah.
And then I remember when she told us she was pregnant for Carson, the second one, she was due in November. And I was like, oh, it's got to be such a relief, in the off season. She was like, no, it is what it is. And Adrian's busy no matter what time of year it is. And I'm like, well, that's true. Because just because it's off season doesn't mean Gerald's not going to be 50 miles offshore in the Gulf of Mexico. So I was like, that's a good way of looking at it. And
we say off season because there's no scheduled tournaments, but there is 100% not an off season.
No.
It's just like no scheduled time where he actually legitimately cannot be
where you're going to be. You're going to be somewhere. You just don't know ahead of time, which might be even worse. Like, unless you have a schedule in the season. So when she said that, I was like, that's a good perspective. Okay. Yeah. And then I didn't put it together until really the couple of weeks before having him and deciding to go to Red Crest. And going to South Carolina before that at 35 weeks was a little iffy too. But Brandon Polinick, their first one, he fishes Bassmaster, the elites now again. But when Tiffany had their first, they obviously live way West Coast, Idaho. But I remember, so he did not make it back in time for her first one, their first one. But I remember listening to her afterwards saying, like, we considered finding a doctor out there where Brian would be, finding a doctor out there to have the baby on the road. And I just remember thinking when I heard it at the time, this was several years ago, like,
what?
Absolutely not. Like, that's insane. No. Stay home. And then when it came down to it, when it came to deciding to go to the first, well, Toledo Bend was close to home and I was 8 months. It wasn't as close. But going to South Carolina and going to Red Crest, it was, because, like, our parents were like, we're going to have a baby potentially in another state. And it was like, if my option is having the baby at home by myself or having the baby in an unfamiliar new hospital, but Gerald could be there, whether it's like right at the moment or he'll be there that afternoon, 100% find a doctor wherever you are. Yeah. Like, there are good doctors everywhere. They're all doing the same thing basically. So go. I mean, I called for both South Carolina and Birmingham. I called hospitals, had my records there, had it all planned out. Like, hey, if I go into labor, I'm coming here. This is what we're doing.
This is me. Yeah. Hello. My life is crazy, which I actually love. Like, she is a huge planner, and probably, like, very, very helpful, you know, on a Gerald perspective with that. But, like, planner to the max, so having it all organized. And I'm glad that you said that, because that was going to be my question. Like, would you recommend to a new mom in this situation to be open to things like 100%. That? Like, were you very comfortable with it?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't at first. I didn't think I would be, but 100% yes. And that's part of this life in general, being comfortable with flexibility, doing things, whether it's in the kitchen, of like, hey, we don't have a pot that I need here. I'm going to use a random thing that does not actually use for this.
It's not supposed to hold water or
do this, but we're going to make it work. Or it's going on the road. And it's like, you know, you make it work and 100% it's worth it to make, you know. And as a planner, that's hard. Yes. But, and I think I gave myself, like, the thought process of, Gerald kept saying, well, you know, you're going to make all of them you can. You know, we're going to do whatever. In my mind, I was like, South Carolina's iffy. Red Crest, I mean, maybe if he's in contention, I'll get there. Del Hollow, no. Yeah. We'll get back by 5 weeks at Eufaula. And then it was like, once I was scheduled for a C-section, and it gave me 15 days at home, right at the 2-week mark. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And I'm still thinking, like, I mean, who knows how you're going to feel after. Yeah. Thankfully, within a week after, I felt almost 100% back to normal. So I was like, all right, let's go. My pediatrician
and it was a planned C-section. It was, yeah. Because, and I feel like that gives you a lot of, like, organizational flexibility, but, like, self-flexibility.
Yes, we kind of had an inkling, a suspicion that it would be from the beginning. He was measuring really large. And I'm not large.
She's very tiny, and he was supposed to be like 9-something. He was 9-something.
And they knew from pretty early on he was measuring that big. So we didn't get confirmation until like 3 weeks before, but I was hoping, like, what am I going to have to do to convince them? Like, even if he's not looking so big, we're going to have to do this anyway, so that my planning heart can have some peace. But, that 36-week mark, he was breached, too. He never went head down. So it was like a guaranteed C-section. Yeah. So that helped, for sure, with planning.
I know the first year comes with a lot of milestones, obviously, as they're, like, doubling in size, tripling in size. Yeah. So what are you and Joe most excited about to experience with Blaze this year?
Just bringing him everywhere and showing him all the things that we get to see. Yes. Like, our first stop on the way up here, our first gas station stop was the NASA exit. So we were, like, joking, like, oh, we need to go take a picture with him at the exit, at the rocket and stuff. So just
get him like a little tiny helmet.
Yes, all of that. I want to get him one of those maps. I had one when I started traveling with Gerald where you scratch off the states you've been to. So I did that for myself, all these years. But I want to get him one.
That would be awesome.
So we can check off Tennessee and Kentucky this week. And, see by year how many states. We laughed at already. Like, before he was born, while I was pregnant, we were in Michigan at the end of last year. We went to Cabo. We went to a bunch of different states. So
he's
it was
well traveled.
Without traveling. Yeah. So you know, that's kind of the fun part. We're just like, you know, and we go to a lot of the same places nowadays for tournaments, so it kind of gets redundant. So I'm excited this now with him. It's like it makes every place new again. You'll see it
differently
through their eyes and doing things with them, showing them things. So I'm really excited about that part.
It'll be really fun when he's like up and into things, because you can go to like the gem mining things and like all like mini golf. I love all of that.
We were a tourist family for sure growing up. We did all those things, and he will too for sure. We were on the way up here to Rock City. Like we have home videos of me when I was like 3 or 4 at Rock City. My niece and nephew when they were little. Me and Gerald went. And they have the whole little
ferry area.
Yes, so like I can't wait till he's like that 3-4-year-old age. We were definitely doing Rock City.
Yes, 100%. He has to. You have to. I love it. I love being a tourist, even in like your own town. I think it's so fun. So, what is something looking back that you think was very helpful that you did that you would recommend to new moms? And I know we kind of mentioned it with like the being able or like open-minded enough to go to different places, but is there anything else in particular do you think like the walking helped, or like
probably just staying active, staying walking, getting connected and advice from people who have done it. That was a huge help for me. So anybody in that situation, reach out to me or any of us, because like Kara,
did you just like DM them and be like, I am now pregnant. What do I do?
Yes, absolutely. And it was, I can't tell you how many things I have or have done, because Kara Avina was like, this worked on the road, this didn't. Things you don't think about, like the monitor situation. I was looking at all the fancy Wi-Fi monitors, and she was like, don't get a Wi-Fi only monitor, because your Airbnb might not have good Wi-Fi, and you want to be able to use your monitor. And I was like, that's
actually really smart. I know, I didn't even think about
that.
So
definitely reaching out to people who have been here, who have done it, that was a huge help for me, and definitely recommend.
I love that. What are like your top 3 things that you would recommend that everyone like put on their registry, or consider putting on the registry, that you may or may not have like thought through?
So the monitor thing is just, you're going to have a monitor. So if you're traveling, get one. Mine does both. It does Wi-Fi and whatever the non-Wi-Fi term would be.
Yeah, like a Bluetooth.
Yeah. Where it just, all I did was plug it in when I got here, and it connected. And I did, so they make them with 2 monitors if you have like 2 kids, and I got that one, and I was like, well, I don't know how much we'll use it, but it's nice because we have one mounted at home that stays on the wall, and then the other camera we bring with us. So that was a cool feature to have. We have a duplicates of a lot of stuff like that, because you don't want to be having to, our turnarounds are so quick. We might be home for 5-6 days and back on the road, so it's everything in and out the truck. Leave what you can in there. I got a lot of collapsible, foldable stuff. Like, we got the Mockingbird bassinet that they can sleep in, and it folds flat. The stand folds flat, and it's overnight sleep safe. So that's what he sleeps on at home and on the road. Sound machine. I'm surprised I don't have. I guess, we don't want the sound machine going during the video. But a little tiny portable sound machine. I wish I had 3 of them, because I bring it with this. It goes on the car seat. It goes in the bassinet. It goes when I change him. It's great. This little ergo baby chair. Is this one of his favorites?
It's like a little bouncy chair.
Yeah, he uses the gravity and his weight to bounce slowly, soothe him. But those are...
No, those are good things. I would not have thought about them. What do you think about, and this is random caveat, but like portable pumping stuff?
Pumping is my life right now.
Yeah.
My life. I have a lot of sets. I did not realize till we got here I did not have a dishwasher. Here, my life, the last 2 days I've been washing bottles and pump parts. But I have 3 wall sets and 2 wearable sets. And it's just like, so you're not having to wash them
all the time. Mm-hmm. So you recommend getting lots of those?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. You have the one, like,
main one.
Machine. But the parts to it, the things you have to wash, they're not expensive. So just get multiple parts, and then if something happens to one, you can get more. Yeah. Or you have backup, but it's just to cut down on the washing. Yeah. Every 3 hours. Because you're supposed to wash it every time you use it.
Yeah, use it.
So it's just like, so I'll use one.
That would be kind of a
put it in and grab the next one, or like you can put them in the fridge, like on a fridge hack, with that kind of thing. But yeah, still. I mean, it worked so our truck has a full wall outlet, so we just pumped in the truck all the way here, and it worked out. Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it works. Like, hey, this works. So being portable, being mobile, very important. So
all about flexibility, right?
Flexibility, yes, always.
Do you guys also have pets you travel with?
Oh, yes. We have our cat, our first child and love of our life. So his name's Hurricane. He's a black cat. And Gerald rescued him from Hurricane Laura in Lake Charles in 2020, August of 2020. He had to have been born during the hurricane. He was 4 ounces by himself, no mom or siblings around. Gerald just heard him crying. I wasn't with him for the cleanup that day, but he heard him and the people he was with, they grabbed him. He ended up taking him home. And we had him for over a week before he ever opened his eyes. He was that young.
Aww.
So
he was just born then.
Yeah. So he was our introduction into parent life, as silly as that is. We were up with him every 3 hours overnight.
Yeah, because you have to be their mom.
Yeah, we had to syringe feed him, then bottle feed him. We had to rub his little behind over the sink to make him go to the bathroom. We had to heat up rice in a sock to keep him warm. So we're attached to him. He's attached to us. He flies on airplanes with us. He has not missed a trip. I mean, I don't miss. He doesn't miss. We all go together as a family.
Everyone goes. And he likes Blaze, so
yes, we were really nervous. But when we came home from the hospital, we told my family, his family, everybody, hey, y'all, give us a little time. Give us today. We're gonna just try to slowly introduce him. And he's been really. He's not all over him in a good or bad way. He just keeps his distance. And actually yesterday for the first time I was holding Blaze and Hurricane was on the counter and he came up and he'll always rub his head on me and he came up and he rubbed his head on Blaze's head and was loved on him.
We're brothers.
Yes, so thank goodness because we would have been heartbroken if it didn't work out. So Hurricane's our little rescue. He's in the room back there and he travels. So in the truck it's so crowded now. We've got the car seat. We've got because Hurricane's spoiled as can be. So he has his bag that he travels in, but then he has his house that he likes, his comfy house with a blanket in it. So we've got his bag, his house, his litter box on the floor, the clothes hanging, me back there at times. So
does he go to the litter box while you're driving?
Oh yeah,
that is awesome.
Yep.
Huh.
It's actually very routine. Yeah. He also gets car sick. So it never
helpful.
Never fails that within an hour of driving, he starts making these horrible moans. We know it's coming. Oh, he's about to puke. So he'll throw up, then he'll hop in the litter box, he'll go to the bathroom, and then he settles in for the rest of the time, and he's good.
His stomach just has regulate.
Yeah, we kind of started giving him some Dramamine that helped until this last trip. It didn't help for some reason, but this last trip was the first time I caught him about to go, and I pulled the litter box close to him, and he went in the litter box.
Oh, yay!
Yes, score.
Yeah, maybe he'll learn how to do that.
Yeah, because usually it's on the floorboard. I'm having to wipe it all up. But, yeah. So he kind of has free roam with the truck, but he typically just stays in his little house. And he gets, in the console, center console between me and Gerald, we'll put his blanket and he'll hop up and ride in the room with us.
That's so cute. He works. He works. Yeah. He's along for the journey.
Yeah, it definitely opened my eyes to seeing Gerald with how he was. And I was like, you need a child. You need a baby.
You are spoiling a cat. Let's spoil a child and a cat.
Yeah.
So for new lady coming a part of the fishing family, what is your best piece of advice for them? Overall advice.
Overall, I mean, we've been talking about the flexibility. That's a big one. Also mentioned reaching out to others. I know, so when I started traveling, we were on the Elite Series, and it was a lot of veterans, a lot of people had been there for a long time. You didn't have as many in and out and new people, which we haven't here either. But we all came feeling new here, where they were really established in the elites. So it was harder to kind of break into the group of wives and girlfriends. But now that we've been doing it so long, I look back and I realize that you might be there with your husband or boyfriend for the first time, and because you're standing by them, you think I thought people will assume, figured out oh, that's Gerald's girlfriend or something, where I didn't realize how busy some of us are in the morning and how wrapped up we are in making sure everything's taken care of at the ramp first thing in the morning. So I might glance by you and never register that oh, I haven't met her yet, or oh, she's with, I might think you're just a local fan that's out there and never make the connection. So reach out, say hey, introduce yourself. I'm not good at that, at introducing, taking the first of introducing myself to people, but it's definitely recommended. I would if I could go back, I would do that more, and I'd probably spend a year or two not really knowing anybody on the road because I just didn't. So.
That's another reason why I wanted to do this, just so you kind of have an immediate know of at least someone, like, hey, I saw this podcast, I really liked what you said here, or like, just like an kind of an idea of like who you're saying hi to, because I told about that, like, everyone over here is like super welcoming, but it's also, you have to get them after the launch kind of, because I mean, and I know, like, I am very focused. Like, does he have everything he possibly needs to, like, go on and have a great day?
You can't miss anything. Like, you have to be so focused. If you're in that, like we are, if you're part of the, like, that, then you're 100% thinking about those things. So,
like, I don't even think about, like, what I'm going to do for the day until they're gone. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, let me say we're going to go to lunch, or we're going to do this, or whatever.
Understand, that's what's going through our minds, but it's not, we're not saying hey because we don't want to talk to you. Like, please just give a shout. Give a shout. Come say hey.
I like that too. I do love, like, our group. I think that they're, like, very inviting, and it is very fun.
We have a good group right now.
Yeah. Okay, last question. We're going to take a little break. I have to go to the bathroom, so there's that. But if we had a wax fishing tournament, which wife or girlfriend do you think would win?
I would have to say Katie Ottinger.
I
am so impressed that, like, she kayaks and, like, fishes by herself.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, a lot of us fish with our guys, but that's totally different from, like, if you put me on a boat by myself.
Yeah,
I don't know where to go.
decisions.
Or, like, the decisions. I can talk it. Like, as he's talking, because Gerald talks through his tournaments all the time, so he's like, you know, it's not going to be these conditions. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's going to be windy, so you're going to be throwing chatterbait. And, like, I can talk it, but, like, if I was out there making the decisions, no.
It's
but, like,
totally different.
She's out there, like, finding where to go fish. So I think that's going to put you ahead.
Yeah, very impressed. I know, when I did Bella's, I was like, I'm going to add some caveats, because, like, I think for this tournament, if we did it, one, it would need to be, like, a smaller body of water. And I think that the guy could drive the boat, but we have to make the fishing decisions. So, like, they can put us in an area, you know, because, like you said, like, of us, I do think Justin Cooper's wife, Anna Cooper, she fishes and she, like, decision fishes. Nice. But I do think it's very different.
Yeah.
And I think I was talking to Kristen about this. Like, I know what Matt is looking for, but I wouldn't know how to begin to find it. Like, I know it when I see it.
Yeah.
And he, you know, like, I see it the same time he does, or at least in my mind, I think I do. But, like, he has gotten us there, you know?
And then, like, I might be able to catch the fish and make the cast, but, like, tying on the baits and that kind of stuff, no.
Yeah.
So, like,
oh my gosh, my knots. They'd be like 15 grandma knots. My bait would, like, run sideways because it's, like, got this, like, nice little, you know, bush of knots.
Yep.
He has, like, I can do, like, what is it called? A clench, maybe? The FG.
Oh, yeah, that complicated, crazy one.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't speak to them while they're doing it because they're counting how many times they're spinning it. Yeah.
No, but I think Katie would be a good one. She would be hard to beat.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and go into tournament and working life. Okay. Blaze, are you ready?
I think he's good too.
Okay, we are back. So we're going to get into kind of the tournament world and what their version of it is. So, starting kind of at the top, but really from the bottom, where was Gerald fishing when y'all met? And then how did he get here? What was his, like, path to the top?
So, I love this story because it's part of our story too. So Gerald fished. He grew up loving to fish like they all do. He actually grew up offshore fishing. Saltwater fishing is where his love of fishing came from.
Because he's from Louisiana.
We're both from South Louisiana. But his family would do, like, an offshore fishing trip every year. That's where he got his love, down on the coast. And then when his grandfather passed away when he was younger, they didn't do those trips as much. So they lived in the Baton Rouge area, but his dad didn't fish, but his dad would take him to ponds and let him go fish while he sat in the truck and worked on his stuff he had to do. So bass fishing was kind of like a default, like, kind of took the place of, it was still fishing. So that's where his bass fishing started, and his love came from that. And then did local tournaments and whatnot growing up, but never, like, he didn't do any of the high school, college. And I think he really kind of stepped away from, he didn't get into tournaments until he was much older. He graduated high school, went to the Navy for 4 years, came back, went to the plants, worked in the plants for a while, Exxon and Shell, And he started, I don't know exactly, it was before me, of course, but I think started tournament fishing probably more like 2010-ish, maybe,
okay.
2011. He was like in his late 20s, early 30s.
Where did
just
you
local
start?
stuff like that. When we met at the end of the 2016 season. So 2016, back up. So 2015, he was fishing some Toyota, whatever the Toyotas were at that time.
Yeah.
Toyotas, Opens, things like that, a little bit. So in 2015, he qualified for FLW because that was like one of the years you couldn't just like have a certain boat, you had to qualify in. So he qualified through the Northerns to fish the FLW tour. He fished that in 2016, and he quit his job that year.
At the plants.
Job at the plants,
okay.
Yeah. He had saved up tons of money and quit his job before he actually qualified. So it was the year he was just fishing like the Toyotas and the Opens that he quit without like actually...
He's so cute.
Without actually being on the top tour. And then fished FLW 2016. We met... So he was fishing FLW and he was fishing all the Opens to try to qualify for the elites.
Okay.
And we met the week the week before he qualified. I'm gonna pick him up.
What?
Yes. So it was one of those years that an Open had gotten delayed for weather.
Yeah.
And so it was pushed back to October. Yeah, we met in October. And so when we met, like our first day, he was practicing for the Open, like the week before the tournament.
Where was the Open?
It was at home.
Oh, okay.
So he qualified through the Southerns, and the last tournament was at home, or an hour from home. And so he was in the midst of tournament week, and he said it, but I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah.
But within a week of us meeting, he fished that third Open, and he qualified for the elites.
I mean, that's
right when we met.
Good juju on you.
It seemed like it. So that was end of 2016. So he fished the elites in 17 and 18, and then Major League Fishing in 19.
Formed in 2019.
Yeah, and so we've been doing that ever since.
Very nice.
So yeah.
Dang, that is really good juju, I feel like.
It was cool. It was we definitely got thrown all the way into it of like, okay, this is, and so I don't know how you are, but when it comes to points, like figuring points throughout the season, I'm a numbers person, a math person anyway, so I'm constantly like trying to figure out the points before they come out.
I had an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, for sure. Me too. I have the Excel spreadsheet. And like before that, like I'll like chicken scratch and paper sometimes too. But it started early, so we met. And then, like, the week later, he's fishing this Open, and he had explained to me, he was in the top 5, and the first day he didn't have a good day, and he was going to have to be... So I'm watching weigh-in, and I'm, like...
Numbering
these
it
people
out.
are ahead of him, these people are below him, and, like, I'm figured out, I think he made it before, like, he ever got off the stage.
Like, I know you're good!
I was immediately full-on, like... A lot.
Yes. I think that's, like, a good sign, too. Like, jumped in 2 feet, like, all right, like, we're diving in, because I don't think this life really, you can toe tap it. Mm-hmm. No, it's either, like, because they're full on or not. Yeah. So, you're either full on or you're not.
And either way it works. Yeah.
Right, if you're not, like, that works, too. Mm-hmm. Because some people, like, have very successful, very separate things. Yep. But I feel like the in and out, it makes the routines harder. Yes. So, like, their tournament routine and then, the home routine, like, that all more difficult.
Definitely.
Which obviously can be done. It's just, like, it's different layers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so in 16, he qualified. That week we met. And then, so he was still working in the plants at that point, but he was working as a contractor. And since he was fishing FLW, he had worked out a deal with, at the time, it was his title sponsor that he only had to work in between tournaments. Like, they worked with his fishing schedule completely.
That's nice.
Yes, but the off season, right after that last tournament, they said, hey, we need somebody to go to Kuwait for a job for a month or 2. They didn't really know how long it was going to take. And that was right after we met too. So like a month after we met, he heads to Kuwait. The Middle East for a month, and we just kept talking.
Did you go over there? Oh, that would have been awesome.
No, heck no. But we kept talking and hanging out, FaceTime and stuff while he was gone, and that was how he paid his entry fees the first year, was that, that he was getting paid this crazy rate for going over there. Yeah. So he mailed his first entry fee check from the Middle East, and that was kind of how he was able to do it all.
That's awesome.
But and then we started the 17 season with the elites, and like I said, I made it to about half of those. There was a couple back like near home, so those were easy to just like make a trip and go, because we took things really slow in our relationship at the beginning. So we were like not, kept things really casual, I guess you could say. Yeah. But I remember it was middle of the season. They had a tournament in Arkansas, which is like 6 or 7 hours from us, and I wasn't gonna go. And he went on his own, and then like he was having a good day. And Bass Shock, then was not always so accurate. But I was like, I woke up that morning, I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna show up at weigh-in. So I did. I just like took off driving 7 hours and showed up at weigh-in and surprised him there. And he was like, okay, brownie points. I was like, I'm in. I'm all in on this. And then the end of that year, we had a northern swing, Champlain, St. Lawrence River. So I went for the whole northern, stayed the 3 weeks or whatever it was that year up north. And that was kind of like when the full-time traveling started.
Then you're like sucked in.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. When you start traveling, you definitely get sucked into the life. And you're like, I can't not do this.
It feels so wrong not being there. Yeah. But like with the juju, you're saying, it was also, so he had a really hard first year. Like he had a really rough couple of finishes that first year until the very last tournament. And I did not make the last tournament. And I made that northern swing. So that year they did 2 New York, came home, and then they did a St. Clair. And so I came home and I stayed home because I had to go back to work. And he went to St. Clair and he made a top 10. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't go.
Travel. Yeah.
Thankfully, it was the last one of the year. So like by the time the off season had passed, like we kind of forgot about it. And like, okay, we'll try this again.
I'm not going to mention it, but
it might have been the bad luck.
Anyway. So did he always want to be a professional bass fisherman from like starting with the ponds, or did he, like, I know you said he took a little break and then went back, like when did that trigger switch where he's like, I want to do that?
Like all the other guys, he grew up watching it on TV. He definitely, I think when he was younger, he watched on TV, he wanted to be a professional bass fisherman. I think, like, he has school projects when he was, really, really young, saying that's what he wanted to do. I think it was more like him, like, high school, going to the Navy, coming back to work, it was kind of back burner and not, like... Yeah. And I think he was also, he knew he didn't have a way to do it other than to...
gain some capital first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he knew that was part of the process, but it was always there. Yeah. It was definitely something he always... It did, from the offshore, become his dream and his passion from there. But it's still, like, and now, the bass fishing has become more of, now that we're doing it a while, it's a job, it's work. So the offshore fishing has maintained and stayed our fun fishing and our enjoyment, our hobby. And while this is more, like, he doesn't bass fish when we're home. Yeah. It's a tournament thing only.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you guys Airbnb it, hotel it, or camper it? And... has that changed?
So we Airbnb, and we always have. We used to be with a big group of guys. We were with Josh Bertrand, James Elam, and Roy Hawk. That was since Major League Fishing started. Before that, we got Airbnbs, and we stayed with Seth Fighter when we were with the Elites. We roomed with him. So we always had a group that we stayed with. This year, it's just us. Oh, and I was thinking during the break, too, that's another piece of advice for a new mom traveling. It's great to have your own place. Don't get the smallest place. Like, just because it's just y'all, don't get a 1-bedroom. Yeah. We have these 2- and 3-bedroom places, and if you've noticed, we are on opposite ends of the house. I mean, it's not the best thing, but with a newborn, he's over there on that end. I have all the baby stuff and all the cat stuff spread out in this side of the house, and then at night I'm over there. So if he's crying in the middle of the night, I'm not waking him up on tournament morning. So just having the room to spread out is huge, big time important with traveling with a new baby.
I would say that's sound, and I don't have a child. However, Katie, her first tournament out, they had gotten a place that it looked very big in photos, but it was very not when they got there. And so all of her stuff, she just didn't have room for it. Like the bouncy thing, like she didn't have room for that, or like the pop out thing, like, which,
stuff,
me clearly know all the terms. The pop out thing, the bouncy thing, her bottles, all of the washy thing, like none of that. She didn't have room.
Yes.
So I like that piece.
Yeah, spend a little bit of extra money and have the space if you're gonna go, because it makes life so much easier. Just not having to cross paths and like that just you're in each other's way, and then that just becomes like,
and it's early morning, so like trying to get all of that happening.
Like you said, I mean, I always got up earlier than everybody else so I could come make the sandwiches, because I don't know about you, like Gerald likes the sandwiches fresh.
Made every morning before. I make them every morning. Yes.
So you can't make them in the evening before, like right now while you have nothing else to do. You can't make the sandwich. You gotta wait till the morning.
Yes.
So I always got up early for that kind of stuff. But now it's like, okay, he might wake up at 4, and so that's like the start of my day. Even though Gerald is not waking up till 5:30, so it's just you can. A
little bit more leniency.
You're not waking him up, because sleep is important. At this point, they're so busy. So
and him too.
And him, he is a big sleeper. He's a big time sleeper.
I cannot even. So, do you guys typically cook at the house, or do you eat out during tournaments?
We typically cook. Yeah. We kind of get in a routine of kind of the same meals, but we definitely cook at the house. Like I said, when we were traveling with other people, we would definitely take at least one. We always eat out. Almost always eat out. Say that we usually eat out the first night we get here. We like to get to a place 2 days early. To have that first day to settle in. So that first, when we get there, we'll usually go eat out somewhere. If we don't, we just grab a steak and throw it on the grill. But we'll cook all week. When we were staying with other people, we'd have a date night midweek. Usually like an off day kind of deal. Might be lunch, might be dinner. Go out to eat, but pretty much cook.
Yeah, we cook too. What are y'all's like favorite meals? Because we have kind of routine meals as well.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're like favorite, they're just the easy ones. So we definitely do spaghetti. We did that last night. That's usually our first practice day is spaghetti. We'll do like a pot roast in the crock pot. A lot of steak nights. Burger. We'll do a burger night.
Y'all do like tacos too?
Yeah, a lot of times tacos. Definitely a taco night.
Yeah, we had that last night. We're doing Chinese chicken stir fry tonight. It's actually like fairly simple, so I have to tell you about it.
Yeah.
But that is like we kind of rotate through every guy's favorite meal, like on the practice night.
Yep.
And first tournament night before tournament is always spaghetti night, because that's Matt's favorite meal.
That's kind of how we, I guess, came up with our food, because like spaghetti is Gerald's favorite. He likes having that pasta after a long day of fishing. Roy was a carnivore, meat only, so steak night was his night. Josh was the Western taco, one of taco nights, and then James was the pot roast, the Mississippi pot roast, kind of his favorite meal.
Yeah, with the ranch. I love Mississippi pot roast. So, do you guys have a typical tournament day routine now? And do you have any like traditions or superstitions that you guys do on a regular basis?
I don't know if we have superstitions. But our routine, we definitely, like I said, I get up first, I start making, I turn the coffee pot on, I make the sandwiches, I go load the boat. So I try to have like all the food in bags ready to go. It's Gerald, first thing when he wakes up, he goes out there and uncovers the boat. Once, that's like the boat's uncovered, next step. So once the boat's uncovered, I can go into the boat, get out the trash, put in the new food, load it with ice, turn the GoPros on, get all that set up. And then make sure we have everything in here, including the baby now, and hit the road, get to the ramp, I drop him, I take the trailer back with me, and wait to hear when I need to go get him.
Yeah, same. I mean, minus the GoPros. Like, Matt does all from the house to the boat. I do, like, from the bed to the boat. To the door. Yes.
That was the hardest thing, being 8 months pregnant and 9 months pregnant about the last 3 tournaments. Gerald would not let me get in and out the boat. He was scared I was going to fall.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I'm a very clumsy person. He was smart to do that. But I'm also the kind of person that's like, I can do it. I'm fine. So I couldn't put the food in the boat, and I couldn't put the GoPros on. And I was just dying. I was just like, but if I can't do it, though, you have to do it. Like, so do it.
Yes. Do it so then it's off my checklist.
So this week I've been like hopping in on the boat, and I've been like, oh, this is so nice. Gerald has made comments twice already this week. He's like, you were so big and pregnant last tournament, and now you're not.
He's like, now you're bouncy.
You're so back to normal, and like you're so small now. I'm like, I can get in and out. I can move around. It's nice.
Thank you for the compliments. Keep them coming.
Yeah, I'll take it.
All day, every day. Okay. What is something random that you think you do extra that helps Gerald be successful on the water?
So I know what his answer would be for this.
What's his?
His answer would be being able to get to him on the water with the trailer. So, like, moving him during practice days is a big deal. Like, not here because it's easier for them to get around on the water on this lake than it is by road. But so many tournaments, practice days, I'll get a call, 10 o'clock, hey, come pick me up at this ramp. I'm going to go to this ramp. That gives him truck time to kind of, like, look at maps and stuff while I'm driving. That gives him, like, saves him time in the transportation of it. Yeah. And then, like, having the trailer to where he doesn't have to, if he works his way all the way down the lake throughout the day, then having to come all the way back to get to his truck, I just pick him up down.
Wherever he is.
Yeah, wherever he is, which saves time. Makes the end of the day faster. And then tournament days, same thing. I always watch him on Life 360, and I'll know where he ends his day, and I'll find a ramp closest to him there. Instead of going back to official takeoff, I'll pick him up wherever he is, so he doesn't have to worry if the weather's getting bad or something. Like, even if they don't put a trailering policy in place, we can get him at the end of the day. Right. So, him knowing that I'll pick him up wherever he's at, I think it takes a lot off of his mind, and then I always show up with a drink for him, too. So, that's, like, his favorite. That's probably one of our little routines. Like, I always, usually, like, Crown and Coke is his go-to, or some kind of whiskey and Coke, so I'll always have a drink for him in the truck.
Oh, that is so fun. Yeah. I like that. Normally I bring, like, snacks, but I like the drink. Mm-hmm. That's very fun.
Yeah. Little things, I feel like I do a lot of random little things that just, like, would not really make a difference.
They kind of had, like, made its way into your life, but you couldn't imagine not doing them.
Yeah. Like, tiny things, like, so I don't drink the coffee, but I make the coffee, but not just that, but, like, when we get there the first night, I always, like, open, like, the peely thing on the coffee creamer. Like, I open the coffee creamer. I open, like, the mayonnaise bottles. Because nobody wants to do that at 4 o'clock in the morning when you're tired. So, like, the night before, I try to make sure all of those things are open. So, it's just, like, so in the morning, the coffee's ready. I have the creamer on the counter with the cup and the spoon for him to just make it when he's ready for it. That kind of little stuff.
I love that. I love my little things. Mm-hmm. Like, I love doing them. I think he appreciates them. I know he does. Mm-hmm. Like, I love the little things.
I do too.
That's why I like to ask that, because everyone does, their own version of little things. Mm-hmm. Or they're big things. They are big things, but, all these different, like, little routines, but it's always fun to, like, see what other people are doing, too. Yeah, I said on one of the things, like what you just said, you're setting out the creamer, the spoon, and the cup. So not that he can't do that, but like the taking away the, like, mental load of that. Like, Matt, like, I always pour him, his coffee before he comes in, because he likes it cold, you know? So, like, like, I love those little things. I think it makes, like, a huge difference.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then, obviously, he does it for me in ways, because I'm not a detail-oriented human, so.
Yes.
So, he works on that stuff. But I love that. I think that's great. So, what is your favorite thing about this world now, coming into it?
I mean, the traveling for sure is a huge thing. I love traveling. Again, our first date, when he was explaining to me, like, oh, I'm trying to qualify for this and that, and he's like, and I spend every summer in New York. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in. Again, I'm in.
Sign me up.
So I love the traveling, getting to see new places. I love when we come to new places, like this week. So we haven't had a big tournament on Dale Hollow, so we hadn't been here before. So that was one of the things, like, motivating me, too, to come, if possible, after having him. I'm like, if I'm going to miss one, I don't want it to be Dale Hollow. I haven't been there. And it's such a beautiful part of the country. Just seeing other parts of the country, seeing the world all the time, living on the road. So life on the road for sure. We don't stay, even on the off season, we don't stay at our own house for more than y'all either. I mean,
like a week.
A week tops. Yeah. So we like to be on the go. New places. So that's my favorite part.
I love that y'all are still like that too, because Matt and I talk about that. Like, I don't ever see us slowing down or wanting to slow down, and I'm glad it's like a mutual thing, but I'm glad that you guys have been doing it, and it is very, like, because that's always, something in the back of my head, like, is he ever going to get to a point where he can't do it? But he's like an Energizer bunny, so I don't think so.
And even if it's not fishing, like, I don't think we'll ever slow down in the traveling part of it. We'll always be doing something like that, where we're going like
that's that. Everywhere.
I don't ever see us staying at home for weeks at a time.
No. There's no way. I mean, there's just not, like,
never.
You know how many extra, like, parts of our house would be built if I had kept Matt at home for longer than 2 weeks. I mean, I don't think that the world can handle him for longer than that. So. What do you think is the biggest misconception about this lifestyle?
I mean, we'll say it, that because we're on the road, we're on vacation.
Yes.
We're not on vacation.
No.
A lot of times we're in these beautiful, awesome places, and then it's like, man, we were so close to all this stuff, and we didn't go see it. We didn't have time to go do it. So, like, you have to learn to appreciate the beauty and where you're at. Yes. Like, just because we're in Tennessee doesn't mean we're going to go sightsee. Like, we were saying, we love being tourists, and we do, but... Especially, and that's something that maybe we were better at the beginning, and we're not anymore. And hopefully with him, as he gets older, we'll get back to, like, making the time to go down on off days, because we've really gotten in the habit lately of, like, off days are just service yard, tackle, content, and not going to do stuff. But we're not on vacation. Yeah, no. I get home, when I was working, like, in person before, I'd get home, and it would be like, I'm like back to work. Yes, because it's so much calmer than here on the road. Yeah, you're getting more sleep than when you're on the road and stuff like that.
Which I do like that our home is vacation. Like when we go home, it's more of like it's still work, but it's like more of where we take our breath. Yeah. Versus others go away to take a breath. You know.
That's a good point.
So I do like that part of it. Do you think that people in y'all's life understand what you go through during a tournament week?
Some do. Some don't. Yeah. It was cool having my mom at Red Crest last week.
Because she could see it.
She got it. Yeah. Well, she's always gotten it, but she really saw it and got it.
Is that the first time she's been there for, like, the full shebang?
Full shebang, yes. Yeah. Her and my dad had come to a couple before, but not, they were just, like, it was close ones to home sometimes, and it was just, like, come for weigh-in, and the next day, she never, like, done the early morning to the late
and
night.
she was, like, launched, like, through Expo.
Everything.
Like,
she was with me for everything, so she really saw, like, that... We're not on vacation.
Yeah, how much work actually goes into it.
How much was it that we did nothing fun? We were at tire shops because I can't tell you how many times a tire blows out or something. You run over a nail. I end up with the tire, taking it to the tire shop while he's fishing, or in the laundromat because we didn't have a washing machine.
Oh,
so, like, that kind of stuff. It's a lot of chores. It's a lot of that. So my family, I have a lot of cousins who are very much into tournament fishing, so they get it. And then I have my sisters and, like, other people like that don't. They're like, especially, like, having him during tournament season, you know, I think a few people were like, I mean, why doesn't he just not go to the tournament? I was like, that's not how that works.
Yeah,
like,
what?
That's in our contracts. Like, we make our living, we pay our bills because he promises to be at them. Like, it's a job. We have to be there.
Yeah, and they're, like, professionals. It would be like you saying that a quarterback didn't need to show up for that game because
this one.
He's going to have a baby.
Life doesn't work that way. No. So would have been nice, but no.
Dang. Yeah, that's funny. I always wondered that because obviously we plan, like, a lot of big events and even small events, like, around tournaments. And I don't think necessarily people understand the prioritization of that because they think, like, you're entering a tournament, not, like, your
livelihood is the
being
tournament.
There.
Yeah, like, it's a difference. It's not just like your local hop in a tournament kind of thing. It's like we've made commitments,
to a lot of people.
Yes, that we will be here.
Yes,
not to mention just points and the season and everything else.
Everything else that you would like to have. Yeah. So obviously, you didn't know what you were getting into tournament world necessarily before you got here, and you were kind of thrown to the fire.
Yeah.
So what is, I think, the biggest difference that you would say from when you started to now?
In, like, how
you approach it, and like,
I don't know. So it was funny when we met. So like I said, my cousins were following bass fishing, but I didn't really know that when I met Gerald. I was a speech therapist before, and I was working in the nursing homes, and the physical therapist that I worked with, her husband is very much a fan of the sport. And I remember way before meeting Gerald, their anniversary weekend one year, they went to the Classic when it was in South Carolina. Yeah, when Casey Ashley won.
I just saw the banner, because we were there, and I was like,
So I remember her saying, like, it's our anniversary and we're going to a fishing tournament. And it was a classic. But, like, she was telling me all about it. I'm like, that's weird. That's different. So before our first date, I texted her and I was like, hey, does Kirk, her husband was like, does he know this guy? Like, is he legit?
Is he legit?
And Kirk was like, oh, he's not pro yet, but he's close. He's wanting to be. He's legit. I was like, okay. I just want to make sure he's not, this isn't all, like, a story.
Yeah.
I was like, is this real like everybody does to us? It's like, oh, that's a thing.
Yes.
That was my reaction to him, like, that's a thing? Okay. I love fishing. My dad would take us bass fishing all the time when I was like younger. So I loved fishing. That was kind of his little pickup line. He was like, well, if you like me, I'll take you fishing. And I was like, I'm in. Okay. Which took forever for him to actually take me fishing, but we got there eventually. And then when I finally, like I said, we kept things really casual and took things slow for a while. So it was a while before he met any of my family. Or before I really even told them about him. So when my cousins found out that he was on the Elite Series, they were just like, what? How are you dating somebody on the Elite Series?
I don't know. Tinder did it.
Tinder. I don't know.
They hooked us up.
I don't even know what this is. So I didn't have any idea.
When did you start your routines together? Because I did it to myself very early on. Like, literally, the first tournament I ever went to, not just, like, drove in, but, like, I flew to Wisconsin and then, like, kind of created.
Yeah, I flew to Wisconsin, too, that first year. Yeah, a lacrosse tournament.
Yeah, it was Sturgeon Bay. This one was Sturgeon Bay. Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it was. I loved Door County.
Yes. I don't know, that first year, so I went to Toledo Bend, and I was very much just a spectator, standby. I went to a couple others, and, like, we had a routine of, like, on the phone, whether I was there or not. It was, like, a routine of just kind of him, hearing his game plan, hearing him decompress, because that's he does a lot of his strategizing just out loud to me. So that started really early on the first year. I don't know if it was that New York swing. It was. Oh, I remember. So now I remember. We did. So that New York swing, that first year, he did, like, the St. Lawrence and another tournament. Then he did an open at Champlain. And I remember the first time making his sandwiches in the morning. And it was peanut butter at the time. Peanut butter and jelly. We don't do that as much anymore. But I remember, like, being like, okay, like, I think I know how he wants them. I think I know how he likes a sandwich. And I made them and sent them with him. And that was definitely the beginning. It was like, okay, then I started just taking over.
Doing it, yes.
Yeah.
Just inserting yourself into, like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I always wonder, like, how the transition happens. Because even, like, Kristen, this is her first, like, entirely full season. And, they've been together a while. So... but before that, kind of like you, like, she was working and not able to do that. So
flying in, like, for parts of it. So
yeah. So, like, Bella. So I always ask our guests to ask a question of the next guest without knowing who it is. So Bella asked, like, what do you do during the day while he's fishing? And she didn't know who was going to be the next guest, but kind of get into that a little bit. Plus, like, working, because I know that has transitioned over the time too.
It has. So when we met, I was working full time in the nursing home as a speech pathologist, and I had good PTO where I could take time off and take long weekends and stuff and come to the tournaments. Then in 2019, I went PRN only, so I was still in the nursing home as a therapist, but I didn't work for one place full time. I would just pick up shifts when I was home. So my main thing was traveling, and then if we were home for a stretch, I would go in and help out. And that worked really well. Then when COVID hit is when I transitioned out of therapy and the nursing homes altogether.
Gotcha.
Everything changed.
Yeah, totally. Because going in and out of nursing homes in general probably wasn't.
Yes, it was not a good place. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was. It was a lot of places were like, if you're in this building, you're only in this building. So the flexibility wasn't there. Requirements were not really in my favor for things like that. So I kind of started looking at what else I might want to do. And that's when I made a complete career switch to accounting and bookkeeping and taxes.
Yeah.
Because
very different.
Yeah, but like, you know, that's what we do for them. I mean, most of us do the books for the guys, and
we are there behind the scenes.
We are their bookkeeper. We are their contract manager and business person. Yep. And when I was trying to figure out like because I liked my job before, but I knew it wasn't my passion. Yeah. It was kind of like a default in college. Okay, what can I do that I can make good money at?
And they ask you that. It's like, do you want to be doctor, lawyer, Indian chief? And then like there's variations of this, and this, but like they don't really give you the spectrum of options.
Of everything that, possible out there. So it was a default, and I knew it wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I got to thinking, like, what do I enjoy doing? And it was really, like, I remember going into work thinking, man, I wish I was, doing this on the business side of Gerald's stuff. And, I hit the table.
No, you're good. It's fine. It messes with the mic sometimes, so if you hear a thud, it's normally me. So because I do my hands too much, but
so that kind of thinking that way, I was like, okay, can I make this a career? Because at the time I was like, is that even a thing? Like, are people just bookkeepers? And they are. Yeah. So I started with that because that's kind of a easier. You just kind of learn some softwares and take some general accounting courses. So I started with that. And then, and picked up a bunch of just freelance clients around the country through online websites and do the books for, at this point, 10 or 15 companies.
Very nice.
And then last year, the year before, started my tax certification. So now I'm certified tax preparer as well. Yeah, an enrolled agent, which is kind of like CPA equivalent, but just mainly taxes. So now I'm an EA and doing taxes this season, which meant this year we had fishing season with Redcrest, tax season, and a baby. So I'm a little stressed.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I actually didn't even connect all of that. We just submitted ours. Yeah. So, but,
So this like next week, or while we're here at the tournament. So getting back to your question of what do you do during the day? So like these long practice days, a lot of times I'm on the computer. Like my goal this week is, because when we're home, it's so easy to get pulled to do this or that.
Yes.
A practice day, it's like, unless I'm having to pick them up, it's like, okay, sit down, focus, and get work done.
I love practice days. Because you're not, it's sun up to sundown.
It's a long day of getting stuff done. So that's my tournament, more my practice days and tournament days is
like hardcore
hardcore my work. Yep. And then also like offloading his GoPro from the day before, and if I have time going through, or sometimes I'll like have it playing and going through it while I'm doing work, kind of multitasking back and forth.
Do you do his editing? Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm like, that's my like creative brain. Mm-hmm. I love that.
I think I used to like it more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I didn't like it that much because once it was like other things to do, it's at the bottom of my list now.
Yeah. No, I get that. I mean, like our tournament video editing it's so fun for me to watch through it with him, but like after I'm done, but it is so many hours.
It is.
For kind of a smaller type video.
Yeah.
Versus like our content heavy videos. I do love those.
I think that's where I got old with it. It was like it was a lot of work for a little bit of bit of return. So
yeah.
No, but I do still.
That. Yeah. Do you do all social and stuff like that too? Yeah.
Which has, if you noticed lately, it's been pretty quiet because it's been on the back burner.
There's been a time.
But I'm like, surely they understand. It's the baby. We'll get back to it. So yeah, no, I do. I make, I pull all the contracts at the beginning of the year, see what the requirements are for each sponsor, try to make out like a calendar, agenda, and do all the posting and all that.
Yeah. I like it. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. Except for he does I do all of the content for it, and he'll do all of the posting minus TikTok and YouTube. I do both of those, but like, I'm like, these are the content pieces this week, and then he'll put up like what he wants.
That's cool. Yeah, and like the captioning, like I'll usually I'll pick out the post, put it up there, do the tags, and I'll hand it to him. I'll be like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, you give me the words. Like, you word it. You tell me what you want to say about this, and I'll type it. Or he'll type it, and I'll go and edit it after.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, he tells everybody, oh, Maggie does my social, and then he'll do, like, this random post himself, and I'm like, I didn't do that.
I didn't.
That wasn't me. One. Like, that one with that wasn't me.
With your head slightly cut off because Matt doesn't know how to do the profile grid.
Yes, like, the words just, like, splattered across. Like, I'm like, that wasn't me. But I am grateful that he's doing it. Like, he has definitely helped out. Like, he's taken it over while I've been busy this last couple of weeks.
I like it too.
I'm like, oh, thank you. Something's happening at least.
It's like, I like that it's a family thing. Like, you do it or he does it, because I think that there is so much impact. Like, also being tied into your social and being able to respond to people and all of that. Like, I love, obviously, that we have some media companies and stuff that help out on the sponsor side. That's, like, so nice. But I do think having them kind of put back on the back end is
and when it comes to like responding to comments and messages, that's Gerald.
Oh yeah, that's all.
I might like some sometimes I'll be like, hey, did you see this message, or like what do you want me to tell them? But usually it's him.
Same here, because I'm like, I don't really know what he wants me to say here.
I have like the standard ones, like we always get the same. Y'all Suzuki now, so you'll get the prop. What prop do you run? So like that one, I answer that one, but
yes, we're testing some out, but we like the Scorpion 26 pitch.
Exactly. Totally Scorpion.
Oh my gosh. So do you do anything fun for just you during tournament weeks? Or what is your thing?
I mean, we like to go and do stuff with the girls. So definitely like to, I forgot about this. We had started, it's not a superstition, but tradition. We had done a tradition for a while of going to a winery everywhere we went, which is hard sometimes. So there's not always, you're not always in wine country. A lot of times we are, but not always. But we'll find a local wine and go taste it and bring bottles home. So we have a dining room with a brick wall and like big wine racks up and down, and it's all of our wines from different places.
That's awesome.
And we don't drink any till at least the next year. We won't drink any that year, so that when we do open it, we can go back and reminisce on, hey, we got this one from this tournament. Remember that winery? That was cool. So we did not do it last year, being pregnant, and didn't get to go to the wine. No, well, that was this year. That was end of last year, beginning of this year. We kind of phased it out. But we'll get back to it.
That'll be good.
So we do that, and then like we like to go to the wineries too with the girls and lunch and stuff.
And lunch, we wine and dine ourselves.
Yes, I will say either tournament or practice days. Probably the only time I ever let myself take a nap. It's like early mornings, and sometimes it's a long day. Or my thing is with watching live and like our little funny things. It's like, if he's not catching them, sometimes I'm like, if I'll just go to sleep for 30 minutes, maybe when I wake up, he'll have caught some.
Yes.
So
she plays the game too.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I'll let myself nap during a tournament week sometimes, and I don't ever get to do that at home. So
and I had to do like go in the shower, like I gotta like do something to get my mind differently.
Me and Sarah Tharp are good friends, and her thing is and I'll do it sometimes too. If it's cut day, she will pack up the entire house, not knowing if he's gonna make it or not. But like if he's not catching them, she's like, she will have the truck loaded down, ready to go, and then he'll like make the cut. And
oh my gosh!
But like I'll start doing that, like
get prepped.
I'll start packing things up, picking things up, because
it overheated.
Is it the window? Like,
it might be. So obviously, I know that you help Gerald with the fishing side and the business side, and do your own business. What is something that you do that you think helps you manage both? Like working, traveling, your own business, his business. Is it just you being hyper organized, or is there something you got like tricks?
I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I have it down. I probably need some help. I a lot of times feel like I don't have it all. I'm trying, but there's always something slacking, something slipping. I sometimes envy people who can do just one thing and do it really well, because I'm like, man, if I could devote all my time to just this or just that, I could be really awesome at it. But like, I'm really spread out. So what else? I mean, Gerald is a huge help himself. Like, he does more than I think a lot of our guys do. Like, he does more than I see a lot of other guys doing, that are just in your regular kind of day-to-day life. He picks up not the slack, but like, I know if I don't have something, he does. So always teamwork in that sense. We're both.
Are y'all like list people?
Oh yeah. Yes, both of us, which I love. That he makes lists, I make lists. Big time lists. I'm a big time to-do list. Like, I will add something to the to-do list just to check it off because I did it, so it needs to be on there. Big time list. Bags, like you said when you came in, bags. Like, I have separate bags for everything. I have a bag for my cameras, the boat camera stuff. I have a bag for my work stuff. I have a bag for this. So it makes a lot of bags, but
it's organized.
Things organized. Calendars, big time calendars.
I do.
I try every year. I do a new system of like content calendar, trying to figure it out, and I haven't found like what works the best, because I also try to make it work to where when I'm doing reports at the end of the year, I can like use it, pull it all together. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But
I know I was built out a different Excel for that, because I was wanting like the pivot tables to tell me the content involved in them and give me the numbers like that, instead of me having to add them up. But like it doesn't function 100% perfect, or I would be like, you can have it too. I'm working on it though, so if I figure it out, I will let you know. You're more than welcome. But I like wanted the links also to, you know, I wanted all of that.
I'm always trying to improve a system, like some kind of calendar system like that to work it out. Google Drive is a big one for me. I do, so I have a separate email just for Google Drive for Gerald's content, that I have a folder for each sponsor. So like when I'm going through the GoPro, I'll go to the sponsors, and same thing with like reports. It's all in there.
That's nice.
And if I need something, hey, I need to post for Bubba today, I can go into and like, okay, here's all my Bubba stuff and pull. So that's a big one for me, is using that. And then like it's just easy to upload from phone or computer, whatever I'm on.
On Drive, we have a what is it? Dropbox, but it's more for like the sponsors to pick, and not everything is like it's not refreshed. Like I need to go through and take out the old stuff. Like,
and I do like I share some of them. I share them with the sponsors. If it's sponsors who understand that like, hey, this is just kind of my dump, but you're welcome to the dump and to use whatever.
I probably should get better at that. I like that. We don't have Google Drive,
and it's real cheap to like get to 100 gig where you can just put anything in there, all kinds of stuff in.
No, I need to look at that. So, she also does something cool with their content. She can run a drone.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you teach yourself how to do the drone? I am terrified of the drone, by the way. I have had multiple people ask, like, if I wanted to practice on theirs. That's a heck no, because it will end up in the water.
I promise you, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because I have no spatial awareness or skill at all.
No, I feel like it would be like
plunge. And Gerald is like the spatial awareness king, so like he grabs the remote and he just like does it perfectly. I really have to think about it, and it took me a while to not have to. I have to like stare at the drone and be like, it's going that way. He's like, look at the phone. I'm like, well, I feel better if I can see it. Like I know it's gonna tell me there's a tree, but I can see the tree. But we started out with the little mini one, the light one, real small and not as expensive, just a few $100s, so that if I did completely crash it, it'd be okay. So I learned like the maneuvering on that.
That's what worries me, is those joysticks.
The joints, that's confusing. But you get used to it. I've crashed it in the tree before. I've crashed it in the water. Just can't be afraid to crash. That's my motto in a lot of life. I was thinking the other day, like, you just can't be afraid to. You gotta
take the risk.
You gotta do it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. As long as nothing's truly at risk. But
at least you tried.
You tried it, So I've crashed a few. They're pretty hardy. They didn't. They survived. We upgraded to a bigger one, which is nice because then, like, you can get through more wind. I love it for offshore fishing. I mean, the things we get to see in the water. I don't know if you saw the mako shark we caught from the drone.
No.
Unbelievable. So we were reeling in a swordfish, I think, and you can see this massive mako shark circling the boat, circling. You see it take a bite out of our propeller.
What?
And then take a bite out of the fish as it's coming up. It was the coolest. And I didn't even know I was getting it. I had the drone up just to get the fish landed, the swordfish coming in the boat.
Was this on your Instagram?
Yeah, on Gerald's.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Afterwards, and we saw with our eyes, we saw the shark first, and then I was like, oh, I probably have this on the drone, and then realized that what I had on the drone after. It was so cool.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's worth learning how to do for that,
Maybe I'll suck it up.
Yeah.
Ugh. I'm like, just another little thing.
I didn't take like any courses or online, or I didn't really hardly watch any YouTube. It's just you just
mess with it.
It's like learning how to back a trailer. It's, it's trial and error, back and forth, just trying to figure that out.
It would probably just take me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think Gerald would say is his favorite moment or like career high?
I don't know. I know that's weird to say. You don't know, but like. He hasn't won a major tournament or anything like that, and he's had a lot of great tournaments and a lot of big high points, but he is such and I think a lot of our guys are, he's such a, you're only as good as your last tournament kind of guy, so he doesn't dwell on a high point. It's always like, well, that was a good week. Now I gotta do it again this week.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, making the elites, fishing the classic, getting invited to the Bass Pro Tour, fishing Red Crest. This last week, being in contention for Red Crest. That was, I will say, that was a different kind of when he was. My brain's kind of fuzzy the last couple weeks. I'm already a little off, but so knockout round, he was at the top during knockout round, and I think he finished second, but he had found a lot of new fish at the end of the day, and he felt really good going into the last day. And that was, he got off the water with a different emotion, than I had seen before. Like, he truly felt really good about it. And of course, things changed like they always do. Yeah. And fish changed. But he still had a great tournament. But that was... He thought he
but
said
just
that
knowing he thought
he
had it,
and that was what he said at the beginning of the week. That's what he has said over the years. He just wanted to be in contention at a championship like that, to be in contention, because championships are all or nothing. There's no points involved, so a lot of times you're swinging for the fence and you end up you strike out.
Miss or you hit,
so for him to have felt like he hit that one and was in contention was a big deal for him.
No, that's huge. And it was like right before the birth of your son, and
I also told him that morning, if I go into labor, don't look at your phone, because I don't want you to stop fishing. So just don't look at your phone. Not that he ever does during the tournament, but I really wanted to make sure, like, just don't check your phone.
Just don't even try it. I will cross my legs. He will not come.
Like, do you think you're? I was like, no, but I'm full term. Like, it's possible at any second. I don't know. I don't know. It was a crazy moment.
So do you think that was your favorite moment of his career, too?
No. There's been... I don't know which ones are. The 2018 season at La Crosse was a really cool one. He was catching them. He was in contention again. He was like in set first and second, back and forth all day. And they had a lot of camera time on him, and I was watching him have so much fun on camera. Yeah. He was having a blast catching the fish, and that was kind of early on too. That was 2018, so like that was really having family and friends and everybody start reaching out, texting me, and be like, oh my god, we're watching. Like, everybody was really into it. That was a fun moment for me, a good memory. That same year, he finished top 10 AOY at the elites, and that was the AOY tournament was at Kitche, which was one of my favorite places. But like, that whole ordeal was a fun memory. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that sounds like a good season. Just in general, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. How many more years do you think you want to see him fishing?
More than he does. He's going to be ready before I am to stop. I'd like to see him do it as long as possible. Yeah. For us, just go and go. I don't want it to end. I think he has so much more he wants to do. Yeah. He wants to start businesses. He wants to get involved locally, things like that. So, I think realistically we're probably 10 more years, maybe. Okay. But I'll be sad when it ends. Yeah. I'll want it to keep going. Mm-hmm.
I know. It could change too once he gets older. Mm-hmm. Like, he could be like, I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe he'll take over. Maybe we'll just, I'll start like Iris and then we'll just start.
Yeah, you'll go with like Iris. Follow the suns around.
Yeah. I love that. I never thought about that. Maybe once Gerald's ready to get out, I'll
then you'll already be in. Which, like, Iris, she was talking about, like, she was their high school boat captain. So, like, it starts, younger and younger, and obviously by the time he's there, it could be even younger than that, but, like, you could totally do that.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. That's my plan.
That would be fun. That's my plan. I'm going to be a boat mom. I will be tournament captain. Yes. So we talked about this a little bit, but during tournaments, do you watch live?
Absolutely. 100%.
And can you watch in front of the other wives?
Nope. It will, like, deter me sometimes from wanting, like, Major League Fishing will plan stuff. Like, we kind of know our own schedules, and, like, we like to do practice days. So they'll do stuff on tournament days every once in a while. I'm like, I don't know if I want to go. Yep. Because I'm going to want to watch live. They're going to have live on. So I'm going to watch it. But, in front of other people.
And some people watch it very intently, and some don't really watch it, or some do watch it, but it doesn't really affect them, or all the things. And we were talking about this too. Like, I'm like 150% of a human watching it. So I need everyone around me to also be like 150%.
Don't you dare think it's over until the clock is stopped.
The fat lady sings, and her husband, and all her kids sing, like the very, very end, and 15 minutes past
a chance to come back. Yes. But no, I always have it on, unless it's Gerald's off day. I'm not gonna put it on. I will turn it on here and there just to kind of see what's going on. Yeah. But I'm not, if he doesn't have a camera, I'm not intently watching it. I have it on in the background. So that if in case something happens and he does get a camera, or like I'll a drone know, or something, or a drone goes over, that's a big one, or they just mention and talk about it. Yeah. I do something where if he does have a camera or gets a camera, while I'm watching, I screenshot picture, so that I go back after the tournament on the live stream and I screen record all of his live time for his sponsors. Yeah. So I feel like I have to be watching so that I know, because I can't just go rewatch and like screen record after the tournament. I need to know like what time stamp to go to. So I watch for that reason, and I watch because at the end of the tournament, Gerald's like, "So what did I miss, or what was so and so doing?" So that kind of stuff, and I love watching. I'm a fan of it. That's one of the hardest things about the off season is wanting something to watch.
Yes, 100%. I know. I definitely have become a bass fishing fan through him too. Mm-hmm. So what do you think from your perspective? What makes a angler successful?
Attention to detail is a big one, I think. Little things, which that bleeds over to, that's just how he is, which is cool. He has that throughout all of his things in life, but little tiny detail that it takes for fishing, the focus, patience. I guess you need some patience. Yeah. You
patience with yourself. You need some patience,
but like, I don't know. Yeah, if we always succeed at the patience.
Yeah, if they always are patient.
Exactly. But I remember at the beginning, I didn't understand how much went into catching a fish, I guess. Right. So it was like, whoa, you're like talking about barometric pressure and water, water temperature and depth and clarity and thermoclines.
Thermoclines, yeah.
It's like this is scientific. This is not just throwing a line in the water. This is scientific stuff we're talking about here. So you really have to be smart. You have to. I think fishing gets a misconception sometimes. Just like this country thing, you're just going out, wetting the lines. Like this is. You gotta be able to, just like a quarterback, watching that show on Netflix and realizing like how much they do. It's the same thing. Like there's so much information being processed. Yeah,
at once. Like all of this, and then you turn it into what you guys see on TV. And like you said with the quarterback, we watched that as well, and it was so cool to see what the quarterback does and the amount of research they do, even outside of like the team, because you kind of assume the team researches together, whereas this is an individual sport, so like that can't happen. But I always thought like the football team, it was during practice, not at home, not this extra stuff.
Yeah, they were actually like note cards studying.
Yes,
and it kind of brought it more to an individual level, not that team perspective that we don't have.
Yeah, and these guys have to do that with, like she said, all of those funky words that all boil down to hours and hours of research.
You definitely also have to be self-driven, but that's not what I'm looking for. Like, you have to coach yourself. They don't have coaches. Nope. And that's something that drives Cheryl crazy. Like, you have, like, it'd be so nice to have somebody who knew what they were looking at, like, watching them and saying, oh, hey, you made this cast like this, or you overlooked that. Like, they don't have that. They have to. Or
you need to slow down here, or you need to speed up here, or, like, your boat position is a little off. Like, have you thought about doing this? None of that.
And it's something on our end to know. Like, that's one of the hard things being with a professional angler during a tournament week is, like, knowing your place and knowing how they want you to respond or how they want you to contribute to that thought process.
If they want you to contribute.
If they want you to. And then knowing what to say, even if they don't want you to, like, at the end of it, knowing what to say to make them feel better. Not that they need you to make them feel better, but you want to make them feel better, and you sometimes don't know what to say. Yeah. But, like, I had to learn that. So Gerald very much verbalizes his game plan every day, morning and night, to me. And I had to realize, like, he's not looking for a response from me. Yeah. He's just talking. He's just talking. I don't have to actually have a response. So just understanding that, like, I don't need to chime in with, like, well, did you try this? Or what about that? Like, that doesn't help. I'm not the coach. He doesn't want me to be the coach. So it's more just being a listening ear and understanding that. And then, like, I will sometimes, like, I'll remind him of things he said. Like, hey, well, you you said you wanted to focus on this. Like, are you focusing on that?
Yeah.
I'll be that kind of person, but not like the...
A bounce back of what he's saying out loud versus your own insight into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that. I think that that's very good. I mean, it is. It's like every person is so different in how they want to hear advice, if they want to hear advice, and then also how they need to download, and then how they have to express, like, if they're angry, sad, having a good day, and then again, like, what you do and don't say during a tournament time. Yeah. And that's kind of going back to just, it's all, you know, like a greater picture. So you just want to make that picture as clean as possible. So figuring all that out is very fun. But it's all part of the thing.
It's definitely like, you don't bring up things that are going on at home. And sometimes after tournament, Joe will be like, wait, you didn't mention that. I'm like, it wasn't the right time. Like, no. That's going to wait till I drive home. I'll catch you up on everything on the drive home.
Yes. Okay, so one last question. We're going to do some quick hits. What are you most proud of that you guys have accomplished together?
Well, this little one for sure. I think
such a little jelly baby.
I know, he's just such a happy baby, you know. Unless I'm changing his diaper, he's content.
That's because he's probably cold.
I know, poor thing. I think I'm proud of we've done things in our own time, which a lot of people didn't get always. But we took things slow at the beginning. We, like a lot of fishing guys, we waited a while to get married. We were older having kids. You know, I'm 34, he's 42. We're older, but it's the perfect time for us.
Yeah.
Same thing with getting married and the way we got married. Like, we've done things to our own beat. Even with me traveling, like when I first started traveling, I was like, oh wow, you're gonna do that. But like, we've done what's worked for us. And we continue to do what works for us. Not that we don't, I mean, we of course want to, it's not like in a selfish way we're doing it. It's just, we've learned, I guess being older, we've learned that like, that's how you have a quality relationship, is you focus on it, on doing what's best for you. So I'm proud that we've both kept that mindset, and never did anything just because like the timing said we were supposed to. Yeah,
or the masses say you're supposed to. Yeah, because it is. I don't even think people mean for it to come off the way it does, but it's always like they're always asking like when you're gonna cross that next step.
So always what's next, and it's like,
now they're probably asking, are you gonna have a second? Exactly. When are you gonna have a second? Right. It's like, all right, like I just had one, like. And I'm also proud in that sense, like living in the moment, and we celebrate life. We celebrate everything. So little things, big things. We will pop that bottle of champagne, pour a glass of wine, go out to dinner. We celebrate everything. And I think that's part of like, we're not all, people are always asking what's next. And it's like, well, I want to look at right now. Right now. Yeah. Because I think it's always good to have like future game plan as like what you two want to see your life like. But focusing on what you're accomplishing and doing well at now, I think makes it so much more enjoyable when you get to what you envision.
Oh, absolutely. And like, just the way that, like how excited we are to have him. It's amazing. It's like, man, we didn't like plan, like we have to get here, we have to get here. It's just like timing was right, it worked out, and then it's like, oh my gosh, like this is the best thing ever. Yeah, which is so crazy. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap up with some quick hits. So what is your PB and where did you catch it? Smallmouth up in New York. It was a 5.5 pound smallmouth on Ontario. We were fun fishing, which we don't get to do a lot, but drop shotting and just catching good ones, and it was fun. So largemouth, biggest largemouth was probably like 4 pounds just here and there. But yeah, it was several good largemouth that day. Smallmouth that day. It was fun. That is just such a fun time because they're like so aggressive. It's wild. Yes. Go to show or movie or book. I'll include book as well because I like to read. I like to read, but I have not had a chance to read in so long. We are Netflix junkies, big time. So it's always something new. Yeah. Some that we got really hooked on were Vikings. Yeah. Blacklist back in the day. I love Blacklist. Dexter. We're big time like crime, murder, drugs. Did you start Reacher? No, was that one? Add it. Okay. We need a good one right now. We need a new one. Yeah. But yeah, those are our go-tos. Yeah, I think he's on there. It's either Amazon Prime or Netflix, but I think it's... both. Okay, yeah. It's good. Reacher. Okay. Can you back a boat? Yes. Yes. I taught myself during that 2018 season, found an empty parking lot, and don't let your guy teach you or try to teach you. No, do it yourself. I made circles over and over again. Yeah.
Okay, if y'all played Uno together with a group and you had to draw 4 card, would you play it on Gerald or would you wait for a reverse and play it on someone else?
Definitely play it on him, for sure. Yes, any chance I have. He's better at everything than me, I feel like. So, like, if I have a chance to beat him at something, I'm taking it. Like, yes, whether it's a game or not.
Or not. Like, I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to really get better at my
everything.
games.
I'm like, man, come on.
So, one more thing before you leave, and I'm taking this from another podcast, but I love it. What is a question you have for our next guest without knowing who it is?
So I told you, kind of basic, and you kind of answered it yourself earlier. I want to know what are your go-to meals on a tournament week, 'cause I need ideas. Yes. So give me your best recipe for an easy after-practice meal.
I love that. And yes, I would love to hear it too, actually.
We all need it.
I know. So that is our show. Thank you guys so much for being here again, and obviously for meeting our girl. So if people want to follow you or Gerald this year or any year, where can they look?
Gerald Spohrer Fishing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We don't
all
do
the
a ton
good
on
places.
YouTube, but TikTok, because Gerald, he's like, I don't even have TikTok on my phone. That's usually me putting stuff up, but Facebook and Instagram, that's more both of us. So
love it. And obviously, you guys know I love all of the women behind professional bass fishing. I can't wait to share more of their stories and perspectives with you all. If you have any questions that you think I should ask or guests you want to see, comment them below. Please subscribe. We are doing 1 episode a week throughout the rest of this season, and hopefully beyond. We'll see how it goes. So make sure you do that. I also started an Instagram channel for it, or Instagram thing. It's at Random Kitchens Podcast. At Random Kitchens Podcast. So you can know when things are dropping on YouTube. So until next time, I will see you then. Bye.